What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Every Week We Follow. So today is the post-match reaction to Newcastle and a little bit of other stuff that kind of happened over the weekend, obviously after the game. But first, we're going to plug the little ball. We've got the ball with signed ball. We've got a bunch of memorabilia from like Peter With, Brian Little, some children's books as well. All you got to do to enter is just to either scan the QR code below. I'll also pop a little card up in the top in the corner here. £5 gives you an entry, and at the end of the season, we will do a draw. In the winter, we will do a draw for the winner of that. Yeah, thanks, Gaz. Lovely modelled. Well done.
Yes, please don't know. All money going to Acorns Children's Hospice, which we are now at £234. Yeah. So thank you all for your donations. Please keep them coming. It is a fantastic cause, and it is going to go and help other families like mine. So please, if you can, donate.
Brilliant. Yes. How you doing anyway, guys, other than your back?
Mate, as we know, as I've celebrated, right, I went to go and see Mariah Carey over the weekend with my wonderful wife. I'm not going to lie, mate, I had the best time.
Instead of the Newcastle game, which, to be fair, the guy, what's the guy name of the guy who sits in front of you with the glasses? Quite funny.
Oh, I don't.
Sits next to Chris.
I can't remember. Chris, what's his name? What's your brother's name?
If you're watching, let us know.
But we should know his name by now. We only sat by him for about 15 years.
He literally turned around about 60, 70 minutes in, turned around, looked at me and went, I'd have rather have seen Mariah Carey.
Well, do you know what, mate? In seeing Mariah, I think Marco Bizot just stepped up, and when a hero comes along with the strength to carry on, you keep a clean sheet, don't you? Come on.
Well, let's quickly answer that. So, obviously, the game 0-0 in general was drab from a Villa perspective. It was really that first half was really poor, really poor. No tempo. We were all at sea in the midfield. I thought we were getting out-muscled all over the place. Watkins was running his ass off, but he was so isolated. There was no one near him. Rodgers and Tielemans had a really bad game. No one was getting close to him. It's just nothing was working. We didn't have a single shot, if I remember rightly, I think.
Nothing. No, not a single shot. Not even an attempt. I think I said before the game that I was worried about that midfield, particularly the attacking threat of it with Rodgers on the right, McGinn on the left, Tielemans in the middle, and how that would operate, right? And I think at times it was supposed to be fluid, and Rodgers did drop central and go on, but we just didn't move the ball quick enough again. I went to that Roma game pre-season, and I know it's just pre-season, but mate, we fizzed the ball around so brilliantly, and they didn't know what had hit them. Now Newcastle, as I predicted they would, they came with flew out the traps, right, high press, right, and
did you see from the kickoff they literally pumped the ball?
Yeah,
into the corner. Everyone around me, even Ava was like, "What are they doing?" I was like, "They're pegging us in."
Yeah,
they're literally putting the ball. And they know that we need to play out, that we like to play out from the back, and they were just on us. We couldn't get out.
That's been all over social media being slated, but that's exactly why they did it, mate. I wanted to. It was to pin us back and watch us buckle under the pressure. And I want to see the Villa do what Newcastle did. I want to see our front three running their fucking nuts off to close the ball down or to get into space, because actually one good pass out of that press from Newcastle, we would have been in. But the fact of the simple matter is we didn't move the ball quick enough. And when we did, we were so sloppy in possession. We give the ball away probably 10 times in that first half with unopposed, it was terrible. It was like we hadn't played together. Now, there could be contributing factors to that with what's overhanging the squad, with Jacob Ramsey leaving and all that kind of jazz, right? But it's not. It simply wasn't good enough first half, right? And I don't know why. Take away the quality of the players you've got, just the basics of being available. We know how we play. I've got no problem with wanting to play out from the back. But my God, Rodgers, Tielemans, Kamara and Nana, you've got to be an option. As soon as that ball's played out into one of your centre-halves or your right back or your left back, you've got to be an option. You have to be. And if you're not, make space, go long, give it's two simple movements. And when we do it well, it takes 3 passes to probably create a chance. But in that first half, maybe I'm being a little bit harsh on Newcastle, because they did play really well first half.
They were very good, very well organised, and they were they were up for it. and they had decent. If they had a target man, if they had someone up front, and if Harvey Barnes was actually on form, it probably they would have been 3 or 4 up by half time.
Mate,
It was
how
really
we went
bad.
into that half time 0-0, I'll never know. Right, apart from the fact that, like you say, they've just not been clinical enough. And I will say, like I say, Marco Bizzo seriously impressed me, mate. What an upgrade he is on Robin Olsen. Like, he was superb. That first save from Elanga, right, when he was played through, and we're bumping into each other again. Like, defensively, what a calamity that was. Wasn't even a brilliant ball. Just fell over each other and let it go through. What's that,
The second Elanga was on the ball in that position, I literally just went to Peter, just went, goal.
Yeah.
Because I turned, I was like, I'm so confident he was going to score because no one's going to catch him. He's through on goal. He's a good finisher. But it's a brilliant, great save.
Bizzo did everything right because Elanga waited and waited for him to make a move, and he didn't. And he waited for Elanga to take the shots, which meant he covered the angle. Great save. Yeah. You know, I just think from what I've seen of Bizzo in pre-season and that opener, to keep a clean sheet on his first game, he did everything right. I think he made one mistake towards the end where he flapped up one and got a hand to it, but he still got a hand to it, and it was enough.
Yeah.
Right? Look, but that's going to happen. But overall, he claimed everything that came in the air. He came out when he was supposed to. He kicked when he was supposed to. Like, absolute chuff to bits. £3 million, mate. That is an absolute steal.
He was very happy to go long, go direct. His distribution was good. He could use both feet, from what I could tell as well. He was, I was very impressed with him, and I was kind of like, you know what, like he's perfectly. I'd be more than happy to use him in the domestic cups. And if there was an issue with Emery or anything, I'll be like, I'm perfectly happy for him to step in. I think he's really solid. I think just onto the back line.
Before you do, I just want to say that he was my man of the match by a country mile.
Yeah, by a mile.
In our little analysis app, mate, which everyone's going to be slating. So get in the comments, come and slag us off.
Everyone's slagging us off, but also no one can download it because they can't use it yet. So there's no point in us talking about it.
So, but you'll see the comments. But yeah, I went full on 99, like kind of star player.
Yeah, I didn't go quite that high, but you know, I think him, Kamara having to deputise as well at centre back, and he seemed the guy's ridiculous, isn't he? He's like, you can play everywhere. Stick him up front. I reckon he'd have a go. But I think Watkins obviously was feeding on scraps. I think he ran his ass off. He did as much as he could, really. He had like one chance. And it's the kind of shot on the edge of the box.
I sent you a message from the pub that I was in, Watkins, because the first touch that he had was dreadful when he miscontrolled.
I couldn't see that. I couldn't see that. It was at the other end.
It was. I thought, and my heart sank and went, "Oh, he's been so good in pre-season. What's he doing?" Like,
yeah. He actually he also had that bit where he ran through on the left hand side and cut it back, but there's just no one there.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm saying. There was no one close enough to him. No one.
He had snippets in the second half as well where he actually held the ball up really well. So I wasn't as harsh on the player ratings with Watkins, if I'm honest. I thought he did okay.
I thought McGinn was a bit of quite rusty in the first half. All heart, as always. Like, the guy just charges.
Yeah, sloppy in possession, though, mate. But he
really
brought the energy.
Sloppy in possession. But he was very good at getting it. He, used the power of the ass and used it, what he usually does, managed to break up the play. But then he just played a normal ball, and that I'd seen him do a million times.
Yeah.
Just straight to a Newcastle player. I'm like, what are you doing? And Cash did it as well. Like, Tielemans was
first half, they were all guilty of it, mate. I lost count of how many times we give the ball away. I mean, I'm hoping that is like cobwebs dust off, because you go from pre-season to, like, the pace of that first half was quite like electric. Do you know what I mean? I thought Newcastle really put us under pressure. So we've not played at that pace all pre-season, right? So it's the first game of the season, and so we've got to be a little bit forgiving, I think, in terms of
course. I think the issue, the thing that worries me, and I think you were saying it in pre-season as well, is that it's the stuff we were doing last season as well.
Yeah.
And it's not like this is just a random thing that's like, a bit rusty, whatever. It's kind of like,
it's not a one-off performance, is it? Yeah.
We had this last season, lack of tempo, just not really moving the ball quick enough, slightly off it on certain areas, mistakes at the back, whatever. To be fair, other than the Digne, whatever the fuck you say, other than that episode, I actually thought defensively, I think Dean was struggled on the left because Elanga and then who was
Mate
it? They
Elanga
put
took the
on?
piss out of him like multiple
Yeah,
times.
and then they
Literally took
put
the piss
someone
out of him.
else on. They put someone else on
But
second half.
Onana covered him. Onana covered him 2
Yeah,
or 3 times in the first half.
yeah,
But apart from that, Konsa and Mins looked solid in the first half,
yeah. They did.
right?
Yeah, that's what I was going
And
to say.
and I thought Cash had a very good game up until he gave
Other
the
than
fucking
that
ball away
cross,
for the goal. Like,
right?
what the fuck,
No,
mate? Look,
for the
have you
red
got?
card. The red card. There was no goals. But
Sorry,
I'm just
yeah.
gonna.
Well,
But I'm
yeah.
just gonna say we can't blame Cash for the red card.
No.
What we can blame him for is the fact that there was like 4 or 5 players in the box. He put this terrible ball in. Also, he delayed putting the ball in. Don't know why. He did this thing where he was like kind of trying to beat the man. I was like, why have you done that? You don't need to. Should have put it a
Mate,
bit earlier.
for the first time in a while, we had 4 people in the box. You look at
Yeah,
the image of that, right? Look at the goal again. I'm like, what has he seen in that moment
yeah.
to
I know.
play that pass?
I don't know if he's just miss hit it, but yeah, it's obviously put.
Well, I think
There's obviously
I
a
think
lot that happen. There's obviously a lot that happens between that and when it gets to
yeah. But I
to the
think what he sees is probably 4 people in the box. There's a gap on the edge of the area. Maybe try and pick, but there was nobody on the edge of the area to pick out.
No,
And
I was
obviously,
literally
then
like, what's he doing?
you know, you got to say that the break from Newcastle was superb. Elanga picked the ball up and first time pass, like
It's
Konsa.
exactly what we said was the worry.
I mean, should he have taken the red, or should he have let him try and go through and score?
Well, the question I would say is, would you rather have kept Ezri Konsa and got no points, or get a point and you lose Ezri Konsa for 2 games?
Yeah, well, is it just one game that we lose him for because it's not deemed? It's just deemed as a goal scoring opportunity, not a dangerous or.
Oh yeah, what's this by the way? Have you heard of this? The Dogso.
Dogso. No, what the
Dogso.
fuck is that?
It's denying.
Oh, okay. Yes. No, sorry. I have.
Denying of an obvious
goal scoring opportunity.
Yeah, goal scoring opportunity. Dogso. I was like, what the fuck is Dogso? Yeah, maybe it's just one, but even okay. So if that's the case,
so it's not deemed like an aggressive act of violent conduct or anything like that, which is a 3-game ban.
Yeah, that's a 3-game ban.
That's a 3-game ban. But I think I don't know, right? And if people let us know in the comments.
Let us know. I'm sure you'll let us know.
If it's a 1-game ban, hopefully it's just if it's a 1-game ban, then he did the right thing in terms of what the result turned out to be. But that could have gone very differently.
That's what Emery had, wasn't it? He's had a 1-game ban for the Man U game.
Yeah. For denying a goal scoring opportunity.
You might be right.
Yeah.
Dogso.
That's Dogso. That's what I heard. Right. Okay. Title of the podcast, Dogso.
Another acronym for the Premier League, Dogso. Yeah. I was speaking to one of the guys and I was like, bloody hell, PSR, SCR, VAR, QPR. I don't fucking know. Like, it's all bullshit.
Well, mate, that TiVo at the start of the game, right, which says, don't limit our hopes and dreams or whatever it is. It's just have PSR, limits our hopes and dreams. Have you got it?
Yeah, I've got it here.
There you go. No limits to our dreams. Is that what it says? That should be PSR, limits to our dreams. Like, it's just...
So, I mean, we'll come on to it in a sec, but I did want to go over. I had a few photos from the game that I quite like. They've dressed up the concourse. They've given it a lick of paint.
Yeah,
it's nice. It's nice Clara. I like the floor's nice. It was clean. It was shiny. I kind of walked in and I went, "What's different?" And then Pete was like, "The paint. It used to be blue."
Everything.
Like, oh yeah. I was like, "Yeah, it looks way better." So
that's quite nice. Like the same concourse. It had a horrible green floor before.
Yeah. It's so much nicer. So much nicer.
That looks better.
But also, new lion. I quite like the new line. It's moving. It's not just an image, and it's like it's growling a little bit and stuff and snarling. It's quite. I was like, oh, I quite like that. I just took a photo of that because I thought it was quite nice. But let's get on to PSR bullshit. Obviously, the sad news of JJ has officially gone. But the fallout from this has been a bit interesting. So this is Tyrone Ming's post on Instagram. Shortly, I think it was earlier today, or like this morning, I think. And it says at the bottom, it says, "Don't want to hear any bad words or anything negative on this name. You don't know the half."
Yeah.
Which and then John and then McGinn as well, right? He did this one, which is a perfect example of how an academy player should handle the transition to the first team. Always humble, respectful, and willing to learn. It's been a privilege to share the dressing room with you and enjoy some special moments together on the pitch. A sad day losing a top player and person and one of our own, but it seems to be the way of football these days. All the best, JJ. So we spoke briefly about this earlier, and that sounds like players aren't happy, or it sounds like it probably wasn't the case that JJ wanted to go.
Yeah,
but for
100%, mate.
PSR, we've had to.
Well, for players to come out and say it publicly, right, that says to me that they didn't want it. They didn't want him to leave. He probably didn't want to leave.
I don't think the club really wanted to sell him.
I don't think the club wanted to sell him. For God's sake, we offered him a new contract, right? Mm-hmm. So he's either gone for extra money, but I suspect that it's a little bit of both. Where someone's probably said to him, "Look, JJ, we've got to sell you. It's extra. It's you're going to increase your wage. It makes sense for the club." And in the long term, it does make sense. We spoke about this during the pre-season that the pure profit sale that but is that even going to be investor squad? We'll have to wait and see. But in terms for JJ, it won't really. It's just going to be consumed for balancing the books.
We can't. So basically, because the signing and Gesson, right, is amortized over the period of the contract, which is like 4 or 5 years. But we need the money from the sale of JJ because that's immediate income. I think we get like 34 million of it or something up front. And then there's like add-on or 39 plus add-ons.
Yeah.
And that will go straight into this year's books.
Yeah.
So that really helps release it. And also, obviously, I think Bailey's apparently going on loan potentially to Roma with an option to buy. And again, that reduces the wage bill this season. So it's all about this year. And
well, mate, as you know,
I think basically, if we could have sold guaranteed and sold Buendia and Bailey this season, I think JJ wouldn't have gone.
Well, I agree, and I think I as you know, I went on that Newcastle podcast, the True Faith podcast last week to talk about JJ leaving, and I think it is what it is. I think we've weakened our team, if that's the case. And the debate that you and I had earlier was, a fully fit JJ is good enough to play in any Premier League squad. And yes, for the last 2 seasons, he's not been fully fit, but it's been a reoccurring foot injury, not been a muscle injury, not been anything like that. So if that is fully healed, and he's got the potential to light Newcastle up. Like he's got his Champions League experience. He scored goals in the Champions League last season. I think he's a good utility player for them to have. He probably won't start every game because when I spoke about on that podcast, that they've got a solid midfield that they're probably not going to want to disrupt. However, in the Champions League and Cup games, if anyone gets injured, then he's a good replacement to have. He's an upgrade for what they had, which was Sean Longstaff, which I think has gone. So, it's a great deal for them. It's a great deal for us in terms of on paper, but that he's one of our own, mate. And we shouldn't be selling academy players. And this PSR thing is bullshit as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Well, Vidigani's come out pretty soon after, basically saying,
he was on TalkSport, wasn't
he? Yeah, just basically saying we're just so hampered. Like we're doing the best we can, and he said he's committed to keeping a strong squad and all that kind of thing. But it's so difficult, and it's like because we said this last season. This is the difference. This is the fallout. This is what's happened because we didn't manage to get Champions League again. If we'd got it, that fucking Rodgers. I'm not going to go on it. There's there was a lot more than just
things,
that
mate. That's the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, there's a lot more. But like, if we'd got it, it would have been a totally different story.
Of course it would.
And it's just a shame. It's just really sad because it's the last one of that era as well. He's the last.
Yeah.
He was the last player, that kind of like group of players that we had over like the last 5-10 years.
Well, like I said, apart from Bogard, mate, I don't see any of the other academy players coming through yet. There's a couple of possibilities that could, that we saw in pre-season and Alaba, but I haven't seen enough of them. But what I have seen, I wouldn't say that Emery would be going, yes, we're going to give these game time. There's only Bogard who played last season that's got any chance of getting any game time from me. So considering we've got one of the best academies in the world, like that's really concerning that we haven't got homegrown talent coming through. Really, that's going to instantly come and make a difference. So we can't even reinforce there. So while yes, the JJ sale will facilitate the Cassard sale, as I said to you, he's either got to hit the ground running right, which he hasn't even been given a chance yet. If he's shit, right, and he's not good enough for the Premier League, then that's an issue. Who do you play on that left hand side? And if he gets injured, so for me, we've weakened the team. So we can't afford to do that.
I actually don't know if it. Doing a bit more research on it, I don't think it was to facilitate that purchase. I think it would have happened regardless. I think basically we needed to sell. We needed to make up like around 35 to 40 million. Well, actually, I think it was closer to like 30 or 20 million, 25 million originally. But then the Gasong purchase, you've obviously got, even though it's amortized over 4 seasons or whatever, there's still the portion of that's for this season, right?
Yeah.
So we still need to make up the amount we need to make up plus that. So plus that portion. And so I'm guessing that's why it's that kind of figure. And it is, and part of it is just because you need offers on your players. There's other players who can go, but we just can't get rid of them. No one wants them.
Well, funnily enough, no one wants Buendia and Bailey because they've been shit.
Yeah.
So to be fair to Buendia, he had a decent pre-season. He did. He looked sharp in pre-season. But again, it just shows that
he's not going to get any minutes, though.
He's not getting any minutes. Which brings us back to the Newcastle game, mate. In terms of, did we go with the right team selection?
I think the back four was right. I
agree. I disagree. I think Maatsen should have played left back against the Langer for pace because Digne got done, mate. I know Digne's more so.
Maatsen for me gets caught out so badly defensively, position-wise.
Yeah, but mate, he's got pace to burn, and I'd really think if you're going to develop a player like Maatsen, you've got to play him because he's good enough. He is good enough.
I half agree. I think he has got pace, but actually, I've seen him up against pacey wingers, and it's like his pace has just deserted him. I'm just like, literally, I'm like, you're meant to be fast, mate. What's going on? And he's just been rinsed. You remember him against Martinelli? Got absolutely done.
Yeah,
like absolutely done. All like a smoke like a kipper. And I can imagine, we don't know, right? Sliding doors, like as in. And Luca Dean's shown before that he can handle a pacey winger. He can, like, positionally, he's so sound defensively, but he just wasn't able to get out at all and influence the game. None of our players were. We didn't have enough of the ball. But I think also, I think the back four, other than, like you said, maybe Dean, maybe there's a question mark there, could have swapped him out, but here and all there, I actually think Onana and Kamara was the right decision. I think that holding mid gave us steel and gave us like strength in midfield, which he absolutely needed. Rodgers on the wing just doesn't work, does it? And Tielemans was just getting knocked off the ball left, right, and centre. So arguably, even though I love Tielemans and I'm like, we need Tielemans to tick, Rodgers in the middle might have been better. Like just those three just being like this really physical, strong central midfield.
So this is the problem, right? Like it's Emery's trying to incorporate certain players because obviously they're our most experienced, like including McGinn and Tielemans, and working the midfield of Kamara, Onana, and Tielemans. Actually, where one of them probably needs to give, so you've got to let one go. So actually, if you wanted to play Onana and Kamara's holding, then Tielemans should have started on the bench and played Rodgers in that hole. Which still then leaves us very, very little width. Which is why
this is the problem. Yeah, this is the problem.
Marlon, I love McGinn.
Doesn't give us width, though. Doesn't give us width.
No, it doesn't. He doesn't give us width, right? But he's another attacking outlet, like that can potentially cause problems. So what happened was when we were in the first half, in particular, when we were trying to get through, there were no options there. When we did have the chance to pass the ball, we were sloppy in possession. Right, second half, we came out so much more brightly. Like first minute corner routine, John McGinn whips the ball in. Kamara should have scored. It's a header directly at Pope. It was a great chance. I think 20 minutes later, Ollie has a good chance. Good work from Rodgers in the middle, plays him in. It's a poor effort straight at Pope again, right? But though, in the first 10, 15 minutes of the first half, we did all right against 10, and then obviously the red card happened, and with the stoppage time, we played half an hour with 10 men, right? And I have to say that Onana, Mings, Cash, there was one other.
Kamara,
but centre half. They were, and Bizzo second half again. those 5 for me, they were absolutely brilliant, mate. I thought they'd absolutely put Cash. I mean, probably not intentionally, got smashed with the ball about 3 times in his body. Like, I think he's just in the right place, right time. But
all the fans, all you heard was the fans go, "Oh!" like this.
He took it in the nuts. Oh, he took it in the ribs. Oh, it was like a boxing match. Have you seen that meme with that goalkeeper's in there? He's just getting the ball blasted in his face and there's blood coming out of his nose. Right? That's what it was like. And then Onana, he was making challenges, like getting his long legs in, like just breaking up play really well. And Kamara, for me, mate, absolute role. He played better at centre half than he did in midfield on Saturday. I thought he was just completely controlled and brilliant. It speaks volumes for me that Torres didn't get on the pitch. I know we spoke about that because it's 2 left-sided centre halves, but
yeah, I don't think
you'd still think between the two you'd want 2 centre halves and a midfielder in there. But he bossed it, mate. And actually,
mate, we thought that when Luca Dean played at left centre back. So like, I think Emery obviously has these certain things with certain players, and they can't play in certain positions. But I think you're right. Like Onana, I noted down like the second half, he was picking up the ball. He was like beating players. He was driving us up the pitch.
Yeah,
and I thought he looked really, really good. And I think at that point, I think it was about because Konsa got sent off for 64. Was it 64?
Yeah, 63, 64 minutes. It was. Yeah.
And I think that happened with Onana shortly after that. And I was like, this game's getting stretched because Newcastle are pushing. And we're getting a bit of joy in the midfield. And at that point, I was like, and I think I texted you about 70 minutes or something. I said, this game has got Marlon written all over it.
Yeah.
Put him on now, and we will get in behind. We will get chances to get in there. And he puts him on with 5 minutes to go?
8 minutes, he got something like that,
Beating on scraps. Rogers was running forward, but exhausted. He literally had the ball and he couldn't run anymore and just collapsed. I think he did it twice, I think. And Marlon did get a shot off, but that's all he had. And
it was slightly out wide, though, when he was straight at Pope. But he still created a chance. Like, I don't know, it's early doors, isn't it? But again, I'm going back to what we said last season. Tempo poor. The work rate was better second half because it had to be to hang on to the point. But we need to be doing that from minute 1, mate. Like, and Newcastle are don't be wrong. I think Newcastle tired a little bit towards the end, even with 11 men.
First game of the season, everyone.
But in terms of that first half, they could have been clearing away, mate, like 3 or 4-0. And if Isak had played, he probably would have been. So all things considered, a point is a fantastic result. How the game panned out, I'll take that all day long. We've just got to bounce back now. I fully expect that to be a kick up the arse. It has to be, because we can't sit here and just go, well, our squad's good enough, but they don't perform week in, week out. Because then you've got to start thinking, well, are they good enough? Because I think they are, but they've got to show it, mate. This work rate's got to be better. The tempo's got to be better. Like, the quality has got to be better. These players have got experience now. Now, I'm putting it down to first week nerves, and we've got to get into the pace of it. But I fully expect a reaction against Brentford next weekend. They were battered quite comfortably by Nottingham Forest yesterday, and I think they're in trouble, Brentford. With what's going on, whistling playing.
I'd be quite disappointed if we didn't win by like 2 goals.
Yeah,
I'd expect us to get 2 or 3 against them because they don't look organised. They look
broken, mate. New manager, players wanting to leave.
Yeah, all over the place. They've got nothing really going for them at the moment.
Yeah.
Obviously, Whistler isn't playing either because he's potentially going.
He wants to move, doesn't he? So
yeah. So I think Brentford, even though it's away, we should be looking at that as 3 points. And I think, like you said, I think it's a good point in the context of how the game went. I think it's a good point regardless. First game of the season is always very, very difficult to be an unknown entity. We were hoping we'd hit the ground running, but we just didn't really get going. We need to beat Brentford. And then Palace is again, they look decent though against Chelsea as well. So,
mate, I don't want to talk about them, but how have they not won that game? Did you see that free kick that was disallowed for?
We're
not being a metre away from the wall. Are you having a fucking laugh? You could pull up about 300 free kicks from last year.
Mate, I watched Ref Watch this morning, and they were talking about it, and they were saying like because he did proper. I can't remember who the Chelsea player was, and he proper leaned him out of the way, right? But it's because it's something to do with when the ball was hit, he was in contact with the wall. It's such a crock, mate. It's such a crock.
Big Six cartel at work from day one. Palace were robbed. Absolutely robbed.
Terrible. I know. I'm happy though because I got 128 pounds out of it. But like at the same time, yeah, that they were robbed, and I think that they will be really, really tough. And again, I'd happily take a point there, if I'm honest, mate. So 5, and when I try to look at games throughout the season, there's like groups of games, and I think that first, if you looked at the first 3 games of the season and said 5 points,
I wanted 7, mate. I fully expect.
Of course you want. Of course you do.
No, listen to me, right? Emery's one of the world's best coaches. If he doesn't approach this Palace game differently to what he did last year, I'm going to be fucking fuming, mate, because he should be all out to beat these motherfuckers. They beat us 3 times out of 4 last year. Right, Palace fans, no disrespect, but we owe you one. I can't. If we do not beat him at Villa Park, mate, like. I want questions.
Obviously on next week we will be doing our Palace preview, but I can't see it, mate. There's just something about them. There's something about the way they play. There's something about the way they are. There's something about the way they
mate, up against. They are a good, well-organised side. They've kept their players, and I'm not saying it's an easy game to win. What I'm saying is we need to change our approach to it. If we change our approach and lose or draw, I haven't got a problem with it. But if we go into it the same way we approached it 4 times last year and came away with nothing, right? Well, a point out of with the home game 2-2, right? But in terms of I've got questions. Like, and Emery's not invincible to making mistakes. And I don't understand what Glasner's got over him and why he would keep the same selection. Now, we haven't got Asensio, so he may well push Rodgers into that middle. He may well play Gassard out on the left with a bit more pace to get them in behind, because that's where they're beatable. And for the love of the Lord, as long as he doesn't play Pau Torres against Mateta, right? Because Palace fans will be all over us going, again, we're just going to eat Torres for breakfast, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's all out like war for me with Mateta and Mings. Get them 2 up against each other and watch the battle. That'll be a good game, mate. So I hope we do.
Question is, who plays right centre back next week or this weekend?
Oh, fuck my life.
Is it
Kamara, right? But it would be Bogard, wouldn't it? Bogard's the man. Yeah. And I haven't got a problem with that, mate. I'm okay with that. I think he'll do okay. But yeah, Konsa getting sent off is, like I say, because him and Mings look solid, mate. That's my favourite centre back pairing. I've said that for a very long time. Before Mings got injured, I think they've got a brilliant understanding that just works. And if anything, Konsa can play a little bit better than Mings, but the pair of them defensively, just thou shall not pass, mate. They just deal with everything, headers and clearances and no nonsense.
I think Konsa's a better centre back, but I think he needs someone good next to him for whatever it like. As in, I don't think Konsa works with someone who's weak defensively next to him. So I don't like with him with Torres. I don't like it that much because it just doesn't quite work. Whereas Konsa is elevated by Mings.
Because we know that Mings is a leader, and therefore so they work well together, and that is the difference, really. So I think it'll be Bogard, but I still think that'll be should be enough to get points at Brentford. Then we go with the Palace game with hopefully Konsa back and Mings back in the fold. Cool. And if we win at Brentford with Mings playing, by the way, but he may well drop Mings for that and play Bogard and Torres. He could do that. But if
that's a back line, mate.
Yeah, no, it is. But I'd stick with Mings, because, again, I've said this before. I said it at the end of last season. I said it in pre-season. Get the back 4 cemented. And if it's going to be Cash, Mings, Konsa and Digne, fine. Keep it, right? That's like, don't be changing that. Change your midfield, change your striking options, no problem. But that back 4 has to be solid. Like, so, plus point, no goals conceded so far. Keep them clean sheets. Like, we won't lose games. So, yeah, that for me is the must. So if Mings plays next week and let's say we keep a clean sheet, then he has to go into that Palace game with Konsa and Mings for me again, and then hopefully we can get something out of it. And at home, I fancy us against anybody. 22 games unbeaten in all competitions, mate. It's an incredible record. So we've got to take hope from that.
It would have been 9. I think I worked out. I think it was 9. It would have been 9 wins in all competitions in a row if we'd beaten Newcastle at home.
Yeah.
Shame that kind of ended, but yeah, I think they said on Sky. I think it's a record, or I think it's joint record. Home.
It's 19 league games, isn't it? Unbeaten, but 22 in all competitions.
An exact year or something. I think. So I heard someone say. I think it was like a calendar year, basically. No.
It might be. Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, fine.
Don't know. Let's know in the comments. As per usual, we don't really know.
As per usual, we ain't got Scooby. So we will be back on Thursday. I think it was it Thursday.
Yes,
yeah,
mate.
Thursday. We're going to do preview for the Brentford game, and then we'll be back on either Saturday night or Sunday. Probably. I'd like to do like a post match review. Like quick kind of reaction, raw reaction live.
Mate, we are together, so we should do it because we're going to be
away
at Tubs of Rock.
Oh, mate, I completely forgot.
So we can do it whenever we want, mate.
Yeah, so it'll be slightly different this weekend because
we're going on tour. So Max, I apologise to Villa on tour, but we are going on tour this weekend. But unfortunately, it's not to Brentford, but it is going to be to the Leicestershire countryside to watch people jump up and down like madmen and women. And non-binary and whatever you identify as.
Oh God, you just open a can of worms, mate. Basically, we're just going to see a couple of bands. So if anyone here miraculously is going to Dubs of Rock at the weekend, say hi because we will be there. There's only going to be about 5,000 people.
I will have a Villa shirt on. Like, there's no doubt about that.
Of course you will.
I'm representing, mate.
Yeah, I'll be wearing Slipknot t-shirt and all that kind of thing, and you're going to be there in your Villa shirt. Anyway, right,
full kit wanker.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, geez. Right. Anyway, I think that's all we've got time for. Gaz, you any final words?
Yeah, final words, mate. Just to say that it's been a fun weekend because it was our first weekend of being part of Analysis. I promise you, this is going to be mad fun when it comes out in November for people. So please go and like and subscribe to our YouTube channels, to TikTok, and on X. Leave your hatred, leave your nice comments, whatever. We can deal with it all. Right? It's all engagement. We love it. I think the Analysis stuff is great fun. It's a great way of fans talking about football in a great way. I enjoyed being part of the app and doing player ratings and match review. And so when you get to see that, guys, honestly, I think you'll all love it. And if you fancy it, you can sign up to it at fananalysis.com, and they give you a AI kind of process to go through that verifies you as a fan, and then you'll probably be put on a list to see if you get on there, because they want 300 to 500 people, I believe.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So yeah, and maybe we can put a link in the bio, mate, for people to go over to that. And in the coming months, we should have little Analysis little bits on here, I guess, just to kind of know. So yeah, final thoughts.
Right, all right, mate, sing it away.
And on that, I didn't get to do it Saturday because I was watching Mariah. But when a hero comes along with the strength to carry on, every week we follow the boys in claret and blue. Peace.
Yeah.